Okay, just wanted to make a quick video showing you how to create an audience in Facebook ads. So, first things first, get into Ads Manager and then go to Audiences. It'll take you to a screen like this. And from here, you can click Create Audience, and you can either make a custom audience, which is an engager with an ad on Facebook or Instagram, I guess, or WhatsApp or Threads now, or a lookalike audience, which is an audience that Facebook creates of people that are similar to an audience that you designate. So, first things first, we'll show you custom audiences. There are a couple different types of audiences you can create. One, website visitors. These are audiences based on people who visited your page within the last X amount of days, maximum 180. I usually recommend creating 7-day, 15-day, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, 180-day audiences, just so you have variance in terms of look back period. You can also create audiences for people who visited specific pages. As you can see in the background, we usually create page visits for high intent pages, like the form submission pages, sales contact us page, pricing page, get a demo page, etc. Once again, 7, 15, 30, 60, 90 day, and then 180-day audiences is what we recommend. And then you can also create audiences based on time spent on page. These are percentiles, so this would be the top 25% of visitors in terms of time spent on page. Super important for Facebook, by the way, because Facebook is notorious for bot clicks, and bot clicks do not spend very much time on your page. They spend maybe 5 seconds tops. Would highly recommend getting a click fraud tool if you're going to run Facebook ads. We use ClickCease. I'll put a link to ClickCease in the bio. If you want to use our promo code, should give you around 20% off. So that's pretty awesome. I recommend making all website visitor audiences for each of these percentiles of visitors by time spent on site. And then once again, creating 7-day, 15-day, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, 180-day audiences for each of them. Other things you can do, you can create conversion audiences. So these are for people who converted on the site. I usually recommend creating an audience for free trial converters because you can usually retarget them to book a demo or convert on a higher intent conversion. And then, as you can see in the background, also exclusion audiences. So you want to create audiences. I usually recommend 7-day and 180-day audiences for low intent page visitors, like logged in or what's another one? Job page is a big one. Affiliates page. There are a bunch of different options for low intent audiences, but the idea there is to exclude those visitors from your campaigns once you create those audiences. So other types of audiences you can create: customer lists. These are custom uploaded lists, customers or employees if you want to exclude them from your campaigns. Offline activity, that would be people who converted on an offline event, and useful if you use offline conversions. App activity would be actions taken in an app, and then catalog would be the Facebook catalog, your product catalog. So then you have the meta sources, so you can create audiences based on videos. So this would be people who have viewed at least 25% or X% of your video, who have completed or viewed at least 15 seconds of your video, who have at least who viewed at least 3 or 10 seconds of your video. It's really good for getting larger retargeting audiences early on. Lead form. So this would be somebody that engages with the lead form in your campaigns. I like to create audiences for people who submitted the form, so you can exclude those from your cold campaigns. And then also audiences for people who opened but did not submit the form in the last X amount of days. Once you create the audience, you can then set the days. I would recommend 180 days for open but didn't submit form. If you have a really high volume campaign, you could probably go up higher. Shopping would be somebody who engaged with your shopping catalog. Facebook page and Instagram account. So these are people that actually engage with your accounts. You can choose people who started following your account, people who engaged with your account, people who visited your professional account's profile, engaged with any post or ad, sent a message, or saved a post or ad. Some of these are probably not going to have large enough audience sizes to build effective campaigns. Oh, excuse me. And I would say that's the case with the message or the saved post or ad. I usually create audiences for people who engaged with the professional account because that's kind of like all encompassing. So that's visited profile or took an action. And then if you want, you can also make one for people who engaged with any post or ad. I find that one's pretty, or that audience can often ends up being pretty large and can pull in some higher intent interactors like people who swiped a carousel, save the post, comments, or shares. And then the same thing's the case for Facebook as is with Instagram. The other audiences I don't know much about. We don't use them that often for B2B, but this should be pretty self-explanatory, like events or Facebook listing. And then finally, you have lookalike audiences. I mentioned them earlier, but basically you can choose a type of interaction. I usually choose customer lists. We've already uploaded our customer list, so no need to do that now. Or you can choose, here's a couple customer lists. We'll just use this one as an example. You can also use website visitors, and then you can create lookalikes based on how similar you want them to be to your audience. And you can create more than one. So you could do 6, and 0 to 1% would be the most similar. 1 to 2 would be second most, 2 to 3, third, 3 to 4, fourth, and so on. And you can expand these to be larger if you want to pull in more audience, or you can make them smaller if you want them to be smaller but more defined. I usually recommend doing something like this, where you have the most similar audiences segmented out into single percentiles, and then opening up the broader audiences to include multiple percentages. And then, of course, you have to choose your location. This will give you an estimate of how large they are. They're usually enormous, so you definitely want to keep those top percentiles in just 1% each. That's my recommendation. So cool. And that's about it for lookalikes. I recommend when you're segmenting these audiences, both lookalikes and retargeting, segment them out into individual ad groups dedicated to individual audiences, and pausing down those ad groups as you get data. So you'll notice certain lookalike audiences will outperform others, and having that segmentation in place allows you to monitor the performance of each segment easily. So that's Facebook audience creation in a nutshell. Let me know what you think, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment. Cheers.